Look closely at this satellite footage. What you are witnessing is not a natural seasonal shift. It is the result of one of the most extreme, meticulously engineered terraforming projects in human history. This is the Kubuqi. For centuries, it was known by locals as the Sea of Death. Covering over 7,100 square miles, an area roughly the size of New Jersey, it was a lifeless, creeping wasteland of sand that devoured highways, buried entire farming villages, and choked the life out of everything it touched. By the late 1980s, the situation had reached a breaking point. China's desertification crisis was accelerating at an apocalyptic rate, swallowing up 1,300 square miles of usable land every single year. But today, the Kubuqi is no longer a symbol of inevitable doom. It is the site of the most successful ecological restoration project on Earth. Through a combination of brute force, ingenious biology, and sheer desperation, researchers have achieved the impossible, stopping a desert in its tracks. The Kubuqi Desert Greening Initiative is the crown jewel of the larger Green Wall of China project, successfully turning a desert into a forest on a scale never before seen. But how exactly do you kill a desert? How do you force a hostile, barren wasteland that reaches 120 degrees Fahrenheit to suddenly support millions of trees, thousands of farms, and a thriving ecosystem? The answer lies in a series of bizarre scientific breakthroughs, a microscopic soil war, and a radical rethinking of how humans interact with the planet. To understand the miracle of the Kubuqi, you first have to understand the monster it used to be. The Kubuqi sits just 500 miles west of Beijing, and for decades it was the birthplace of a terrifying meteorological phenomenon known as the Yellow Dragon. During the spring, fierce prevailing winds would sweep across the barren dunes, picking up millions of tons of loose, fine sand. This wasn't just a local problem. These colossal dust storms would completely blanket Beijing, grounding flights, halting the economy, and causing severe respiratory illnesses. At its worst, the fine particulate matter from the Kubuqi would ride the high-altitude jet streams entirely across the Pacific Ocean, raining fine yellow dust onto the windshields of cars in California. For the 100,000 local herders and farmers living on the edge of the desert, life was a losing battle. The dunes were highly mobile, shifting and migrating up to 50 feet every single year. You could build a road on Monday, and by Friday, it would be entirely erased by sand. Poverty was rampant. The ecosystem was dead. The local government and private enterprises realized that if they didn't stop the sand would eventually bury them. So, they decided to fight back. They launched an unprecedented campaign to plant trees, millions of them. But there was one major problem. The desert doesn't surrender easily. In the early days of the project, the survival rate for newly planted saplings was a dismal 20%. Traditional planting methods were entirely useless in the Kubuqi. If you dug a hole with a shovel, the loose, dry sand would just flow right back in. Furthermore, the brutal winds would either violently uproot the young trees or bury them alive under suffocating drifts of sand before their roots could take hold. They needed a way to plant trees faster than the wind could destroy them. And that's when engineers developed a brutally simple yet revolutionary technique, the water jet method. Instead of digging a hole, workers use a high-pressure water lance. They blast a concentrated jet of water directly into the dune. This instantly liquefies the sand, creating a temporary, deep, slurry hole. Within seconds, a worker drops a long cutting of a salix tree, a type of hardy desert willow, into the liquefied hole. As the water drains away, the wet sand instantly compacts, locking the sapling firmly in place and providing it with a crucial deep water reservoir to survive its first few weeks. The entire process takes exactly 10 seconds. 10 seconds to plant a tree. This single innovation bypassed the need for heavy machinery, cut costs by 50%, and skyrocketed the sapling survival rate from 20% to over 85%. But planting the trees was only half the battle. They still had to stop the dunes from moving. To do that, they used a technique that looks almost alien from above. They created the checkerboard grid. Before planting a single tree, workers lay out miles of dried straw or willow branches on the sand in a massive grid of 1-yard squares. They use flat-bladed shovels to push the straw halfway into the sand, creating a continuous wall of rigid, porous barriers. This isn't just about trapping sand. It's an application of fluid dynamics. The grid disrupts the aerodynamic flow of the wind precisely at the boundary layer of the earth. It creates thousands of micro-pockets of dead air, where the wind speed drops to 0. Inside these protective squares, the sand stops shifting. And more importantly, when it rains, these squares trap moisture, preventing it from instantly running off or evaporating. Protected by the grid and planted deeply by the water jet, the desert willows finally began to grow. The dunes were locked in place. But to truly revive the ecosystem, they needed a catalyst, something that could turn sterile, dead sand into rich, living soil. And that's when things got weird. Engineers turned to an unlikely hero, Chinese licorice. Yes, the plant used to make candy and traditional medicine. But in the context of terraforming a desert, licorice is a biological superweapon. Licorice is incredibly resilient, requiring almost no water to survive. But its true power lies in its roots. Licorice is a legume, which means it has a symbiotic relationship with rhizobia bacteria in the soil. Together, they perform a magic trick. They pull nitrogen gas directly out of the atmosphere and convert it into nitrates in the ground. It is literally a self-fertilizing plant. As the licorice grows, it pumps life-giving nitrogen into the sterile sand, creating a biocrust. Over just a few years, this process converts dead desert sand into rich, arable topsoil. But the genius of the licorice plan wasn't just ecological, it was economic. Licorice root is a highly lucrative cash crop used in traditional medicine. By leasing the newly stabilized land to local farmers, the project created a massive economy. Farmers were taught to harvest only the outer root branches, keeping the main plant alive to continue holding the soil together. Suddenly, the people who had been driven into poverty by the desert were getting wealthy by healing it. The Ecological project had become a multi-billion-dollar green economy. But the architects of the Kubuqi miracle didn't stop there. They realized that the desert's greatest enemy, the scorching, relentless sun, was actually an untapped resource. Welcome to the Kubuqi Eco-Solar Project. This is a massive 1,000 megawatt solar facility. But unlike traditional solar farms that clear-cut the land, these panels are elevated off the ground. The panels serve a dual purpose. First, they generate massive amounts of clean electricity for the region. But second, and more importantly, they cast a permanent shadow over the desert floor. This artificial shade drastically reduces wind speed and lowers ground temperatures by up to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which reduces water evaporation by nearly 40%. When workers use water to clean the dust off the solar panels, that water drips directly down into the soil, providing a highly efficient, passive drip irrigation system for drought-resistant crops planted underneath. The solar farm is literally shielding the fragile new ecosystem while paying for its own maintenance. It is a closed-loop masterpiece of geoengineering. Today, over 2.3 million acres of the Kubuqi Desert have been completely greened. That is a full 1/3 of the entire desert, erased from existence and replaced with vibrant forests, grasslands, and agricultural hubs. By bringing back the vegetation, humanity actually altered the local climate. Annual rainfall in the region has skyrocketed from a miserable 2.7 inches in the 1980s to over 15.7 inches today. The yellow dragon dust storms that used to choke Beijing have plummeted by 90%. Over 500 species of flora and fauna, including rare birds, foxes, and insects that hadn't been seen in the region for a century, have spontaneously returned to the area. And over 100,000 local citizens have been lifted completely out of poverty, transitioning from struggling desert nomads to profitable eco-farmers and green energy technicians. The Kubuqi model has been recognized by the United Nations as a blueprint for the world. The techniques developed here, the water jet, the grid, the licorice symbiosis, and the solar shields, are now being exported to combat desertification in the Middle East and across the African continent. It's easy to look at the state of our planet and feel an overwhelming sense of despair. We are constantly bombarded with stories of deforestation, climate collapse, and irreversible damage. But the Kubuqi Desert proves something vital. It proves that human ingenuity isn't just capable of destroying nature. When our survival depends on it, and when we align our economics with ecology, human beings possess the godlike ability to bring a dead world back to life. If you want to see how this incredible technology is being used to build an even bigger project across Africa, click the video on the left right now. It covers the Great Green Wall, and it will absolutely blow your mind. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the science shaping our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.